nuclei of the spinal cord. Nuclei of the posterior horns or dorsal horns are sensory. Posteromarginal nucleus. It is present at the tip of the dorsal horns in all segments. It receives pain and temperature sensation. Substantia gelatinosa of Rolando. It is present at the apex of the dorsal horns in all segments. It receives pain and temperature sensation. Main sensory nucleus. It is present in the center of the dorsal horns of all segments. It receives exteroceptive sensation, pain, temperature, touch, and pressure. Clark's nucleus or nucleus dorsalis. It lies at the medial part of the base of the dorsal horn, present in the cervical, lower cervical, thoracic, and upper lumbar segments. It receives unconscious proprioceptive sensation. Dorsal and ventral spinocerebellar tracts from the upper and lower half of the body. Lateral horn nuclei. Lateral horn contains two autonomic nuclei. Sympathetic nuclei, which project as lateral horn, present in the thoracic and the upper lumbar segments, and gives preganglionic sympathetic fibers, and parasympathetic nuclei present in the sacral segments, which do not project as a horn, and they give preganglionic parasympathetic nerves. Nuclei of the anterior horns or ventral horns are motor nuclei. They are 5 groups: medial and lateral and central ones, posteromedial groups, anteromedial groups, posterolateral groups, and anterolateral groups, and the central group. These present in the cervical and lumbar regions. In the thoracic regions, there is only postero and antero groups. Commissural nuclei. They are association nuclei present in the gray matter commissure surrounding the central canal connecting the two halves of the gray matter. They are posterior commissural nucleus and anterior commissural nucleus. Spinal cord, cervical level. It contains all nuclei present in the gray matter, in the posterior and anterior horns and the gray matter commissure. The white matter contains all ascending and descending tracts. Ascending tracts of the dorsal column are gracile tract carrying proprioceptive sensations from the lower half of the body, cognate tract carrying proprioceptive sensations from the upper half of the body, Lissauer's tract carrying pain and temperature from all the body. Descending tract in the dorsal column is comma-shaped tract, which is a short descending branches from cognate tract, upper half of the body, to the anterior horn cells of the cervical and upper thoracic segments. It is present in the posterior column of the spinal cord between the gracile and cognate tracts. It completes the stretch reflex arc. Ascending tracts of the lateral column are lateral spinothalamic tract, carrying pain and temperature sensations from all the body. Ventral spinocerebellar tract, carrying unconscious proprioceptive sensations from the lower half of the body. dorsal spinocerebellar tract carrying unconscious proprioceptive sensations from the upper half of the body. Spino-olivary tract carrying unconscious proprioceptive sensations from the body. Spinotectal tract carrying unconscious pain and temperature and simple touch sensations from the body. Descending tracts of the spinal cord are coming either from the cerebral cortex or from the brain stem, midbrain, bones, and medulla. Those coming from the cerebral cortex are the pyramidal tracts, crossed pyramidal tract. Those coming from the brain stem are, from the midbrain, the rubrospinal tract, lateral tectospinal tract, and from the reticular formation of the whole brain stem, lateral reticulospinal tract. Those coming from the bones, lateral vestibulospinal tract. Those coming from the medulla, olivospinal tract. Ascending tracts of the ventral column, ventral spinothalamic tract carrying the simple touch. Descending tracts of the ventral column are those coming from the cerebral cortex, direct pyramidal tract. Those coming from the brain stem, extrapyramidal tracts. From the midbrain, ventral tectospinal tract. From the reticular formation of the whole brain stem, ventral reticulospinal tract. From the bones, ventral vestibulospinal tract. Then sulcomarginal tract, which is an associative tract. Thoracic level is characterized by the presence of two lateral horns containing sympathetic nuclei. Both posterior and anterior horns are thin. Posterior horns contain Clark's nuclei in addition to substantia gelatinosa of Rolando and main sensory nuclei, while anterior horns contain only two nuclei, postero and antero groups. There is no lateral or central groups. There is two thoracic levels. Upper thoracic level is characterized by the absence of three tracts. These are three extrapyramidal tracts. One tract is missing from each segment of the brain stem. From the midbrain, there is absence of the lateral tectospinal tract. From the bones, there is absence of the ventral vestibulospinal tract. From the medulla, there is absence of the olivospinal tract. Upper thoracic level is also characterized by the presence of septomarginal tract, which is a descending tract present in the dorsal column. Septomarginal tract is short, descending branches from the gracile tract, lower half of the body, to the anterior horn cells of all thoracic, lumbar, and sacral regions. It is present in the posterior column of the spinal cord, and it completes the stretch reflex arc. Other tracts present in the lateral and ventral columns of the spinal cord are similar to cervical level. Lower thoracic level is characterized by the absence of three more tracts: the absence of coniate tract, comma-shaped tract present between gracile and coniate, and direct pyramidal tract. The other tracts present in the lateral and ventral columns are similar to the previous type. Lumbar level is characterized by the presence of thick posterior and anterior horns and the absence of the lateral horns. The nuclei in the anterior horns are similar to those of the cervical region. There are 3 more tracts are absent in the lumbar region: dorsal spinocerebellar tract, rubrospinal tract, ventral tectospinal tract, 2 extrapyramidal tracts of the midbrain, and the dorsal spinocerebellar tract, which is the tract for proprioception, unconscious level of the upper half of the body.